Cades Cove is stunning, more stunning than most places I've seen. It's a valley surrounded by the mountains and has been inhabited for centuries, first by the Cherokee and later, around the 1810s, by European settlers. Many structures still stand. We'll see a couple on this trip, and thankfully today is much nicer than yesterday. Man, it is gorgeous out here. There's wildlife here, trails, and an 11-mile one-way loop you can drive at a pace leisurely enough to see what's here, with plenty of opportunities to pull over. It's open year-round except Christmas, according to the website, a visitor center, bookstore, and restrooms. Cades Cove is magnificent and one of the most popular destinations in the Smokies. Traffic here can be heavy, and the National Park Service advises allowing 2 to 4 hours and longer if you walk trails. Trust me, the time will fly by. Every time we come here, I'm stunned anew at what lies beneath these skies. It's always brand new. Oh man, so we've stopped. Just look at those mountains out there across that wide open plain. It just makes you want to run and frolic in it. We approach our first stop to hike and explore. Out of the car and walking, because you can't just sit behind the wheel the whole time and try not to get hit by. Okay, so well maintained little walkway, as you can see. obligatory trail regulations and safety, yada yada. But look how pretty it is out here. See something up ahead. Walking around in Cades Cove and any of the places that we've seen dwellings of 19th century pioneers up in the mountains just shows how absolutely isolated they were by today's standards. I think most of these people considered if their closest neighbor was 5 miles away, they were too close. Of course, today we like people crammed into apartments and in subdivisions. There's a different story back in these days. First structure is an old barn, but there is a family.
It's okay. We're going to let them climb it and then you can do it. Okay? You did a really good job of venturing all the way up. You go as far as you feel comfortable.
Maybe I can climb that on the way back. They got there first. More of Bob's friends. This barn is cool, but from a later era. Let's see what's down the trail. Temperature's not too bad today. Remember yesterday it was like overcast and foggy and freezing?
Oh, a little lower elevation right now.
Yeah, that's true. Right here. And so a half mile off of the road that is itself miles and miles off any main road, we have this place.
This is the Elijah Oliver cabin. It's noted for a special room he had built on his porch for strangers who came in, called the stranger room. So if you were coming through, he could put you up on his porch.
Interesting.
It's an add-on. You can kind of see.
Oh yeah. Let's have a look.
So here's the front steps. And then right here, this is an addition. And you can have someone sleep over without bringing him into your whole house.
Wow.
So I don't know you, you're passing through, sure I can put you up, stay on the porch.
Nice. Just room to put your cot. And any guest that could crawl up through this crack. Really neat.
Yeah, this is a really neat addition.
And you can see the with Bob's friends. Hieroglyphics of the uncivilized. Wow. These old cabins were obviously really sturdy, but it's interesting to imagine what they would have looked like when originally built. Today it's simply preserved and really only a representation of itself. In its day it would have been more sealed from the weather, I imagine. Hey, look, there's a nice fireplace. Look, there was old newspaper on the door.
Oh, I love that.
No telling if there's... Can you read any of that?
Oh, look at how teeny that is. Very cool.
No telling what era it's from either. There's something that was 5 something. Interesting. Yeah.
Is this like a kitchen area?
Let's see. Wow. So this is fascinating. Outside of this room with this, how it's got this, it's not level, I guess because it's mountainy. But yeah, it comes down. This cabin is a different design from what I've seen before.
Do you think this is like a kitchen? Because it's separate from the
It's
room?
very, very possible, yeah.
Oh no, there's another little building here.
Oh, wait. Just look at that fireplace. And look, this was all field stone, like brought up by the man himself and put together. Just amazing. Can you see up in here?
This might be a corn crib.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet it is something like that. You know I have to step inside. I love this kind of ramshackle old building. Wow, just look at it in here. And this is no made-up thing either. This is the actual buildings where they sat. They've been renewed, of course. They've been renovated. But they are the actual structures. It is amazing out here. If you ever get a chance to come to Cades Cove, if you haven't been before. Okay. This thing is cool.
What's this, babe?
So this
It's a doorknob, dumbass.
I have no idea what the proper word for this is or name for this, but this is some kind of a well or water house. You can see the hollowed out logs, forming a ditch, and they've put new ones here. And this, I'd like to get a closer look inside if
Drink
possible.
that water.
What's that?
Drink that water.
Stacey trying to get me killed.
I'm gonna get him a parasite. I wouldn't kill him.
All right, so as you can see, the water, the floor is the creek. And you can see that pipe out there, wooden pipe, comes into here. And it goes on out. So there's more of these pipes or these troughs from the creek to the back of this. There's a big trough in here with a lot of water. Maybe it was for animals, or it was their means of catching fairly clean water. I don't know. So this isn't original to this house, apparently. It's just to show how some people channeled water in those days. It's kind of neat. Nice handiwork, Elijah Oliver. And one of the buildings we passed on the way up is clearly where Mr. Oliver kept his animals. Look at this. And the trough. They used the land. They used the trees. They used the earth, the rocks.
And I guess, is this where you would put hay? Don't you pitch hay through that little window when it gets too full?
Oh, maybe so. Look at that, just hewn timbers. You can see where they notched out the trees and put them together. Just like Lincoln logs. Like this is like Lincoln logs, but the real thing. Not quite as neatly cut as Lincoln logs, but very effective. I guess there probably would have been mud in between.
I don't know. If it's just where they would keep the hay, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Like there's mud in between on the house
Yes.
and this building. Maybe there isn't mud on this building.
Even the roof was made out of wood. It's amazing. So we took a road that wasn't the one we came in on. I thought it may come out close to the car.
And we find ourselves in a magical forest.
Okay, I see some water. Stacey's impulse has led us to a nice waterway, and the cars are like right over there. Look at that, it looks swift and deep.
There's like a little bridge.
Yeah. Is it our parking lot?
I don't think so.
Abrams Falls is 2.5 miles. Half a mile to the Elijah. So we came a half a mile to on the other trail to his place. So this has to be our parking lot.
I don't understand why you think this is our parking lot.
We didn't see this river on the way in. Maybe. Yes. Okay, so this is not our parking lot.
I wonder if it's like right there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But there is a bathroom. And we're on our way back to the cabin. And finally to the old barn. I had a notion to climb this, but there's a sign over there. Emergency stabilization work current underway. Emergency stabilization. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, my original plan was to climb up here.
just do it. Those other people did it.
But if there's emergency
You're
stabilization,
lighter than the average American.
but am I light enough for this barn?
I think the worst that could happen is you would break your collarbone.
Yeah, I think I'm not gonna do this. Call me chicken, but somehow.
Those other people were up there.
No, they were around here, and the little kids were climbing right here.
Oh.
They weren't up there.
But I mean, isn't that a ladder for the people doing the work? So it's gotta be safe.
I would think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
I'll
not
try
sure.
it in case you die. Just let it be known that I encourage Brian to do dangerous things. It's paused. No, I got it. My theory is this rampy thing. Oh, wow. It's not even like a ladder. It's like a... Check this out. Whoa. Yeah, this is not a good idea. Going up there. Look at how scary that is. But I feel like the construction workers are probably using it.
Probably. Let me see that. I'm just gonna shoot from here.
I wouldn't go any further. I mean, give me this back when you're done. Let me show you how precarious this is. It's like, it's not even on the ground. It's on a jumble, like a Jenga pile of wood sticks. And there's no, like, there's just little grooves. It's not even like steps. This is not really what I pictured when Brian described it.
You know, I think this is supposed to bridge these two.
But again, you have to be a certain sort of paid to be up there person.
Yeah. On down the loop. The interior of Cades Cove to the Shields cabin. This cabin is much simpler than the other one.
So, hearkening back to an earlier video at the battleground of Shiloh, which is really not that terribly far from here. It was in Tennessee. But this house here in Cades Cove has a connection to that.
I wonder if he could walk. I wonder what his injury was.
Yeah, I don't know.
He could walk or climb. Oh, look, there's an upstairs.
There is. This has multiple doors going outside, which is interesting for these old cabins.
It has a staircase to the attic, and Stacey is halfway up.
Hang on a second. Can you see up there?
There's a window.
Oh, okay.
So it said he was crippled in the war.
Yeah.
But he could get upstairs, probably.
Like that. Pretty neat.
After a look around, Stacey decides it's long enough.
If I lived here, I could just bound down these staircases.
Stacey's gone back downstairs. I'm praying that this floor is stable enough for me to walk up to this window. Pretty neat. Pretty sad here. The chimney. These stairs are not the easiest to go up and down. Even has a closet. Bob's friends. What was in here?
Don't see too many cabins with closets.
Ah,
Did you find the closet?
yeah.
Let's hide in here and then jump out of the hole.
Let's. Okay, so these are round nails, so this. Oh yeah, that would be post 1880. Okay, so that makes sense. But look at this. Pegs. That hold the thing together. At least one peg. That's pretty cool.
Alright, did you want to...
Yes.
And now for the story.
Straight from the book.
You know, like this?
So, like, I've wondered what became of people who fought at Shiloh when we were there. It's like so many people, thousands of men fighting there. And you wonder what happened to them after the war. Well, here's the story of one, this very cabin, Carter Shields' cabin. A wound suffered in the Battle of Shiloh left George Washington Carter Shields crippled for life. Shortly after the war, he married and moved to Kansas. He returned to Cades Cove in 1906 and bought this property in 1910. One would think that an old soldier would find contentment in such a lovely nook, but Shields lived here only 11 years before leaving again. And this is straight from the Cades Cove thingamabob.
The tour booklet. It's $1. So you get, this is the view from his front porch. So it is like a cozy little nook.
It is. And if you think about, if you go back and watch the Shiloh episodes, you know, all that carnage, and here's the story of a man who was wounded there but survived and built a home in Cades Cove. Yeah, Mr. Shields, you had a nice little place here. Is that leaning? It does kind of lean that way a little bit. I thought it felt real funny when I walked over to that window.
But it's interesting when you study like a battle and then you see somebody was a veteran of that battle and you know kind of what they went through. It sort of like gives you a bigger perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you're like Shiloh, that's one of the battles, like you don't really know about it.
If you
You don't get as much detail, I guess.
Yeah. If you dig in, you learn all kinds of stuff.
Last point of interest on this trip.
So I saw something off the road. It was a pull off, but I didn't react fast enough. So I had to park down the way a little bit and run back. But it's some trees fenced in this pasture. And I wanted to see, there's no sign to tell what it is, but it's clearly something. I wonder if it's a cemetery. That's exactly what it is.
A cemetery with no names, only notice for the trees and the fence. Only field stone markers.
I saw nothing in the book about this. But these are headstones. Headstones of the deceased without even names.
I'm sure the National Park Service knows who rests here, but I don't. I can only pay my respects and leave them to rest.
Who's buried here? I'm sure someone knows. But there's no betrayal of identities from the markers left. Just some field stones and a small stand of trees. In Cades Cove.
Yeah, I shot this part really, really bad.
Oh, it's a bear.
It is bears. It's a bunch of bears.
Holy cow. Praise the Lord for seeing bears.
See you down the road.